Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Business Today Accenture Leadership Dialogues, which takes me to new fascinating places each and every episode. And this one is a very special one because we've come to Chennai, and in the heart of Chennai, we're here at the DT Group Minmini office with two very special guests. Of course, like we always have, we have a very special guest, Managing Director and Chairman at the DT Group, Balasubramanian Adityan. What a pleasure to have you on the show, sir. And Neeraj Sharma of Accenture. We're going to have a very interesting conversation over here because we've done auto before, we've done tech, we've done all sorts of banking and finance, but now we're going to get into content and reinventing the media wheel, so to speak. Bala, let's start off with your journey here at the DT Group and the genesis of the DT Group, because we're sitting here in an office which is looking towards the future, but there's a rich history for the DT Group. Where did it all begin? Because this is one of the largest regional media news companies in the country. Where did it begin, Bala?
Yeah, we are 83 years old, and my grandfather started the newspaper, Sipa Adityanar, 83 years ago. He found a need gap. He was a lawyer in Singapore, and post World War II, he moved here. But though our origins are from here, so he moved back here. And he started the newspaper. He saw the newspaper readers then were reaching the elites. He found a need gap that the common man should also read, and that is his start. He started Thandi. Now we are Dinathandi. So after three wrong steps, the third one was Dinathandi, and that succeeded. That is like 83 years ago, and from there on the 15th year of his starting, we were the number one newspaper, and then for the past 65 years, we continue to be the number one newspaper in Tamil Nadu. So that is our start as to where Dinathandi is from.
And that is the origin story. But what's fascinating, Bala, is that I'm guessing a few years ago, like all of us in the media space, and you with your rich experience must have had a little bit of a revelation or an idea saying, how do we take this forward? And then the digital business presents its unique set of challenges. What does Minmini do there to really pivot you into the future as the DT Group?
Yeah, a lot has happened since the founders start. There's television, there's radio, then there's the internet. Everything has happened. So, you have to move where the people are moving. The mass newspaper is still a mass medium, but where the people are moving, we have to move. And when people are moving more towards the small phone and the world on their phone, it's time that we moved in there as well. We cannot be where we started or somewhere midway. We have to move where the people are moving, and that's in summary where Minmini, we hope, will take us actively.
And I think, like every other success story, you need a team and some great partners to make this happen. And I think that's where Neeraj and Accenture come in. Neeraj, it's fascinating that what Bala and team are trying to do with Minmini is probably, it hasn't been done before by a media group in this country. And there are some inherent advantages to being a media group to really be able to build a platform like this. Where does Accenture come in, and how do you see this shaping up?
See, many years ago when we got a call from Mr. Bala about wanting to build a new format of a news app. The conversation was going around building aggregation of news stories, being an aggregator, which, by the way, on its own is also a very good choice to make. We realized that there's a lot of gap in the market in terms of what the audiences need versus what is being served by them. Think about it. Every news media company around the world worth its name has a digital presence, and so everyone has their websites and has their apps, and those websites and apps attract traffic because of the latent brand strength of the parent brand. But that traffic hardly ever translates into the same kind of revenue, right? So there is something that the news media companies around the world were missing in terms of attracting audiences on digital platforms. As Accenture, when Mr. Bala called us to have that conversation, we ideated with him to begin with, just 3 people in a room, starting with that discussion on what should we be building.
This was a couple of years ago?
About 2.5 years ago. So we sat down in a room and we started thinking in terms of what is the problem that should be solved and for whom should it be solved? How do we solve it? All that ideation happened jointly between Accenture and the DT group. Then from there on, once we figured out what we want to build, how do we go ahead and build it? So Accenture is building that platform. And then once that platform is now live, some parts of the operations like advertising operations, etc., Accenture is supporting the DT group.
Okay, just to break it down for our viewers and readers, Bala, how do we explain Minmini? Because this is sort of unprecedented. You know, I've worked in the media for over a decade now, but I've seen what this platform is capable of. You have all sorts of things, hyperlocal being the core focus, but how can we explain this to a larger audience? Why is this the future?
Newspaper is all about hyperlocal. You know, of course you have the world news and things like that, but what's happening around you, we have 16 editions of print editions in Tamil Nadu itself, simply because the focus is on hyperlocal. You just cannot print something in Kanyakumari and hope to transport it from Chennai, print it and transport. So we have 16 print locations everywhere. So the concept itself is getting the hyperlocal news to the hyperlocal people. So digitally, we thought we can replicate the same digitally. We put it on print right now. That's only a substrate. You know, you get news through print, you get news through television, radio, anything that you want. So Minmini is a hyperlocal app where it can very easily replicate your newspaper and more. And since the youngsters are more towards getting everything from their phone, a movie theater is inside the phone, your bank is inside the phone. So why not, the newspaper in the way they want it now, with everything that they're also used to. So that is the purpose of Minmini.
Fascinating. But the real question that a lot of the IT people will ask and tech people will ask, because around the world, there have been examples where we've tried to cram a lot of things in, but it depends on what the real secret sauce is. Super apps have been spoken about around the world. Neeraj, you just break it down for us. With so many cool things happening in this app, one, how do we make it a more sticky app? Do we rely on people being within this application? And more importantly, is it anything like a super app?
So I will do 2 things for you right now. Okay. Number 1, I will clarify that this is not a super app we are building. And number 2, let me not tell you what Minmini is, let me show you. Can I, Anshul, please have my phone here? So you have, thanks. So you have come here from Mumbai, right?
Absolutely.
You and Kala here from Mumbai. Every time I go to Mumbai, I cannot just stop myself from having a vada pav. And every street in Mumbai has a battle around what is the best vada pav. Let me get you an authentic vada pav right here on this app. Okay. Through this app, okay. We will look for someone. So this is what the app can do.
Okay.
So this app, Mr. Bala talked about hyper-local nature of this app. What this app does is, it essentially is bringing those people online who earlier had no chances of being online. Yes, I can go to one of those food delivery apps today and order a vada pav. I will most likely get it from one of those chain restaurants. But here on Minmini, I get this vada pav from Gaurav Vada Pav Center, which they tell me is about half a kilometer away from here. Okay. So let me just order this vada pav. You ask Mr. Bala more questions. Let me make this order and we see how long it takes.
Okay, the time starts now, and then maybe at the end of this, we'll also give you a verdict on whether Neeraj's vada pav is authentic or not. But Bala, it's interesting because while we're trying to move into the digital age, there are certain challenges that even he alluded to a couple of minutes ago. One being the kind of content that this new audience wants, Gen Z and beyond. The second piece being that as much as we talk about digital taking a big share of the ad revenues and stuff like that, television still does really well. Newspapers are also doing well, surprisingly, in India as opposed to the rest of the world. Radio still has a business when you're talking
growing too.
Growing too. Yes. So what are the challenges in really pushing forward, but then also taking the learnings? Because as chairman of the group, you'll understand exactly, what's working where, what the profit and loss accounts are all about. So how do you really manage to maintain that fine balance between what's always been working and what you hope will work in the future?
Yeah, all mediums are profitable. You start with radio, television, print, everything is profitable.
Right.
There's enough advertisement money pouring in. But there's this little trend that you continuously see, that more ad spend is on digital. The market share of digital is growing the fastest. And the established players are taking all the market share. There's so little left for thousands of media, companies, small and big newspapers and others. There's so little, because you see that tech enabled, and these very, very big players in this digital field are taking it all.
Right.
So what they have is tech thing, and they have some fantastic technology and products. So what they don't have, we thought, that 2 years ago when we met in ideation, they are not still hyperlocal yet. This Vada Pav shop and many such. So we thought, being a hyperlocal already, we are not operating from Seattle or anywhere. We are here, sitting here. So what can we do better than the big tech companies? First of all, you need a solid tech. Okay, that's one. And number two, your local foot soldiers, how good you can make that to make a usable product. End of the day, it's got to be useful. So that is our thing of digital and technology and the usefulness using our existing core strengths. So that is Minmini.
Using our existing core strengths would mean the foot soldiers you're talking about, the delivery boys, the people who understood where the newspaper circulation business took them. Is that the real secret sauce for Minmini now when we're talking hyperlocal?
Yes, that's a starting point. I have 600 writers who contribute to my newspaper, 300 of these stringers who contribute to my television. That's 900 strong across Tamil Nadu. Then I have 4,000 agents. So I have agents for even the smallest of towns who will take 5 newspapers. So my logistics is that, as I print, I have to get it to this village, right. Just 5 newspapers. Okay, that's all the strength of that village. So I have 4,000 such agents and about these stringers and writers. So these are my strengths, inherent strengths that is sitting with me since '83. These are built for 83 years. So these are, so it's not like a pure tech company sitting somewhere and controlling everything. These are my strengths. So how to leverage these strengths digitally? Right. Okay, so these apart from giving me news, they directly put it on my app right now. What are the other hyperlocals? It's citizen journalist is one that we are also promoting here. The shops and all the commercial establishments. Our concept is even the tire puncture shop that is sitting in the corner of the street should be here. There could be one guy who is actually looking for a tire puncture shop, but that should be there. So we're talking about the entire gamut, right, of even the smallest commerce out there, which means my cycle boys, my agents, everybody who are already there, who are distributing my newspaper, have this opportunity to jump in and contribute digitally. Right. So they are, we have right now 275,000 establishments. We think that there are about 4 million establishments out there, the smallest of small.
In Tamil Nadu.
In Tamil Nadu. So our objective is to reach what we call these, now we don't call them agents and we don't call them cycle boys anymore. We call them Minmini scouts. So they have a revenue model where they can go and onboard these shops, right, and bring it all to here. So that this effort, I don't think any of these big techs are doing. You need thousands of people on the ground
Thousands
to
of
do
people,
that.
thousands of people on the ground. You need to have that local understanding as well. I think that plays a huge part. I think the legacy of the group speaks for that as well. Neeraj, just to understand, when we talk about the content ecosystem, of which I am a part as well, so now I have a question which is existential for me as well, is Mr. Bala alluded to perhaps what's happening with the media business. But now you have the content creators who are really growing in leaps and bounds. A lot of the ad spend, I agree when we talk about YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, perhaps the money you're getting from these platforms is not that much in countries like India and neighboring countries. There's a lot more in the US and Canada. But when we speak of the collabs and the sponsorships and the partnerships, they are astronomical sums that are being commanded. And then these are moving away from certain media companies because, as from a marketing standpoint, perhaps that's a better ROI for a lot of brands, is what we see in terms of the way this ecosystem is evolving. Did you factor in all these things when you were working on this particular partnership? How are we reinventing the news media wheel when there's a little bit of competition, so to speak, coming in from a completely new animal?
That's actually a very good question you ask. I'm a big fan of the creator economy. I have great respects for individual creators. It is very difficult to be an individual creator, but intensely satisfying as well when you get it right. So it is not a surprise to me that the creator economy is doing so well, because a lot of it is founded in passion. We are not fighting with that creator economy. We are embracing that creator economy. We are giving them a platform, especially the smaller nano creators, a platform to become more visible, more reachable to our audiences. We are giving them opportunities to monetize beyond just ads. Mr. Bala talked about hyperlocal. The core of Minmini is hyperlocal, but what is hyperlocal? Everything around you should be available on the Minmini app.
Is there a particular radius we're talking about?
The user can choose the radius they want. So starting from 0.5 kilometer all the way to 25 kilometers, you can choose what you're looking for. So you should be able to find shops, you should be able to find services. So if, for example, you're looking for a cook, you should be able to find them here. But interestingly, you should also be able to find small format events. Those are exactly strangers, yes. Now, currently that's happening on WhatsApp, where you are within a group. Tomorrow, they can be organized by an individual creator who has created a little bit of a following around them, and just within their locality, they can host an event of their own. So we are making, what in Hindi is called mohalle mein superstars, right? So the superstars in your local neighborhood is what we aspire to create through this app.
That's interesting that we are looking at some of these things, because then that, Bala, for me is a big leap, and also diversifying what we look at as a traditional media business, which I find very interesting. And I think maybe through this partnership is the way forward, because we've not seen enough innovation. But then do you at some point think, look, the lawyer in me has to ask this question, and it's free for both of you all to answer, saying some of these, in blending the digital world with the physical world, will come with its fair set of challenges, right? I know a lot of companies around the world put their hands up and say, we are internet companies. We can absolve ourselves of all liability. Now, these are things that you might have to consider with something like Minmini, right? Saying this has to be safe, it has to be private, it has to be secure, and even the physical or the phygital interactions that come from it need to be, with that level of security. Is that something that, you've kept at the forefront with Minmini as well?
Yeah, there is a whole system here to verify. Okay. It's not just what my Minmini Scout is putting up as a shop and what it can do. There are people here making the call, making sure that it exists. And there is a system here to verify.
Super.
There's a full KYC, by the way. If you want to be a reporter on the Minmini app, you can't just go there and just start speaking whatever you want to speak. You have to go through a training. You have to be certified first. We will take your contact details, your KYC details. We'll verify who you are before you are allowed to post as a verified reporter.
And what I find interesting is this a SaaS sort of a model in the future? Can we leverage your learnings from here, Bala, Neeraj, with Accenture's global reach and this particular platform and the solution that we've come up with can perhaps be offered across India, around the world, if it really is a successful recipe?
Yes, this takes a lot of time to create something like this, because this has been created by having having a media company in mind, which has the reach and things, and it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money.
Yes.
We have newspapers big and small in India. Not everybody can invest, and it's kind of reinventing the wheel may not be necessary. At some point, we hope, we have had discussions about it, that we can take it to other newspapers. I cannot do it in Kerala. I would need a Malayalam Manorama there. Okay, so similarly, and it's not even it's like you give them the tech, and we will see some backward way of integrating it, but it'll be 100% theirs. Earlier we had discussed, you're still on a platform. I don't want this to be my platform. Right. It can be every newspaper's platform, using their strengths. Some of them we are all over Tamil Nadu, but some of them could be just a hyperlocal newspaper in the local town. So this app can be for the smallest to the biggest, doing their thing of coverage. And somewhere in the background, we can connect it for the better, for the universe.
Well, it's interesting because you understand the media space. I have to ask you, and then I'll get Neeraj in on this as well. In the media space, we all have to look at revenues. We all have to make sure that they're profitable companies at the end of the day. We also have to, ensure that we are doing things in a credible and ethical manner, right? And these, sometimes the media, they say, is a lost virtue, some of these things. But I think that these are very important things. These are the tenets of what we set out to do, to really reveal and report the information the way it should be. But we see that revenues for a lot of media groups aren't necessarily going up the way they were envisioned. A lot of consolidations happening in this space. A lot of big corporates, have come in, and that changes the game altogether. Is this perhaps the one way you think, pivoting largely from a traditional media company that understood print and then diversified to become a tech company? Is that the only way forward for media companies to survive, especially here in India?
From what we see, everything is going digital. Like I said, the bank is digital, your theater is digital, everything, yeah. So you need to be in that space. You are a newspaper today, but you need to be in that space. Newspaper, like I said, is just a substrate. You print content. You put that content over there, let it be AI, let it be anything. You make sure that you are there present. Yeah. That way your brand is, ensured, and as well as there's a certain, people associate your brand to, real.
Yeah.
And all those things. You do have your strength as against, anybody who's just posting anything. So, out there you have to prove yourself. At the digital sphere, yeah, you prove yourself as a newspaper, yes. But then the challenge is, you're thrown open to the public, right? Here, you are the newspaper, not more than 4 or 5 newspapers in your town. But out there are 1 million people posting. Right. So you have to fight that fight.
So you said, is becoming a tech company the only answer? And what is a tech company is also a very broad conversation. But look, every media company, not just news media company, every media company around the world has one same problem, that media companies traditionally have been in the business of information and entertainment. And both of those things have become commodities. Whether we like it or not, content is commodity today. Yes, I know some content has greater value, but similar content in similar genre is available on a different platform at a lower cost, and so on and so forth. Therefore, media companies now need to evolve themselves from the business of information and entertainment into the business of interaction and engagement. That at its core does require tech. So whether you want to call yourself a technology company or not, you're essentially relying on the tenets of content, community, and commerce. Right. And neither three of these, none of those will be possible without the right tech in place.
Interesting, the right tech in place. And also from your understanding, Neeraj, of how media companies are now approaching the digital wave, do you think that there are certain learnings, especially from this partnership, that you think will necessarily drive the main, like you said, content, community, commerce?
But this is part of our vision, that we will take the full content, commerce, community circle completely within our app.
Neeraj, it's fascinating that, okay, this is not a super app and the Vada Pav is coming very soon. But then how do I explain what Minmini is setting out to do? And where does Accenture come in to that partnership?
Okay. Simply speaking, Minmini is a hyperlocal social discovery app.
Okay.
What it means is you should be able to find all types of content created by all types of creators on one platform at a hyperlocal level, which is basically in and around you. And you can define what is around you. It can be half a kilometer, it can be 25 kilometers as well. So you will get audio, video, text on one platform. You will get news, non-news, entertainment content on the platform. You will get listings of shops and services on the same platform, and you can filter it out by distance.
And when you say creators, because it's a large term that's misused now. So just to be sure, creators would include even journalists, like Sir was saying earlier, stringers. It would include even user-generated content. What does that term entail?
So established media houses are part of the platform. Verified serious creators are part of the platform. And casual first-time creators are also going to be part of the platform. So user-generated as well as established media house published platform is on the same app.
So since this is the BT Accenture Leadership Dialogues, I want to understand, where did this thought really come in, and where did the thought of Accenture being the real provider of this solution, technology, marketing, and the full gamut, where did that come in, Bala?
I knew his colleague Raghuram from Accenture. So this thing was this idea during the pandemic, where we had a lot of time with ourselves, and newspapers were not we couldn't deliver. People were there, but we couldn't deliver. A lot of restrictions. And I saw the society very quickly adapt to digital ordering of food, digital everything. So and I also saw this, people are going more towards aggregators when it came to news and things. So all this put together, I thought it's about time we had a version of what newspaper does, a full version of it. We are authentic. That's primarily the fulcrum of it all. So how to put a social media a platform where we are also authentic. So my 600 plus 300 stringers are all authentic, because I rely on them to get me my news so that I can print it and I can telecast as well. So I wanted to bring it with the authenticity into this media, where so that was primarily the blend of our strengths plus this is authenticity. So somebody comes and I verify that person, they can trust him. Right. So that is the thing. So all these thoughts came in, and we are not a tech or a tech-enabled company. All I have is news websites. So I called up my friend Raghuram, and I said, we need to work on something that I have an idea of, and we just sat together, and then the 2 persons became 3, 4, 5. Now I think there are about 100 people working here. So this is the thing. We got together and see if there's a space for a newspaper in the digital space, and fully engaged as well, and not just a news site. So that is where it started.
As Accenture, our job in that whole thinking was, here is a germ of an idea. How do you nurture it, seed it, seed become a full-grown tree? So we primarily initially worked on the strategy part of this whole platform. So thinking through, what is the problem we are solving and for whom are we solving? How best to solve it? What kind of tech is needed? What features, functionalities are needed? So we thought through that. Then of course thereafter build whatever you have thought through, and now run what you have built. That's what we do.
That's been a fascinating conversation about media, content, reinventing the wheel, so to speak, but it's made me very hungry, Neeraj. And you promised me a vada pav delivered using the Minmini app.
It so happens that it is here. Can we get the... And you have to now tell me whether it is authentic or not, because we promised authenticity.
We are talking about content creators and the ecosystem. So thank you so much. While I would, let's have a look at this first. Because they say first you need to see it and smell it, and that's half the game won already. Nowadays food's all about wow. Okay, it seems incredibly authentic. It smells authentic as well. But you know, Neeraj, Bala, they say content creators need to leave you at a cliffhanger, because then you'll come in for the next episode or you will then go onto the Business Today website and maybe in the end we can leave a nice little review. It smells amazing, it looks amazing, and this conversation has been fascinating. So thank you so much for having this chat, being so candid, Bala, and Neeraj, as always, sharing those insights and for this fantastic meal as well. And thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the BT Accenture Leadership Dialogues. I'll see you in the next one.